On July 7th, 2005, 52 people were killed in London by 4 terrorists who had grown up in Britain. It was a day many of us will never forget. Days after the bombing, armed police mistakenly shot and killed Jean-Charles de Menezes, an unarmed Brazilian man. 6 years later, Mark Duggan was killed by armed police in Tottenham, and his death sparked the worst riots in the UK in over 2 decades. It's because of killings like this I was filled with dread this week when I read that the Met Police Federation announced that it would be asking its members if they would be willing to carry guns. I do not believe arming the Bobby on the beat is going to reduce terrorist attacks. Instead, we need to intensify the resources we provide our intelligence services, who, may I add, are doing a phenomenal job keeping us safe. Let's not rush into something that could create even more mistrust in our police. We are better than that, and they are better than that too.
I admire the approach of the Met Police to actually ask their members what would be their view on being armed. I think that's a good thing to do. If I was a police officer and somebody asked me, would I be a police officer in a metropolitan city in 2017 without being armed, I would say absolutely no way. No way would I stand on the streets of, for example, London, Manchester, Leeds, wherever, without being armed as a police officer? Absolutely not. I understand your point. I understand your concerns. I would absolutely expect all police officers to have at the very least a taser, and most of them in the metropolitan cities to have a gun, to be armed, to protect us adequately, for sure.
But Michelle, we live in a country where guns are illegal, so actually the vast majority of people don't have guns, and in fact the vast majority of criminals in this country don't actually have guns.
Yeah, but we also live in a country where
let me finish.
It's not illegal, it's just possession is regulated of guns. Yeah.
And then also
shooting.
Let me add to that actually we have a police firearms unit. You know, we have a specific segment in the police federation that is trained, that goes through an intense 2-year process of training where firearms are concerned. So we have something in place that is working. But why does this need to be changed?
So what I would say to that is that it's about, 4.4% of the police officers are trained firearms. Yeah. Now, if some absolute idiot is running around Oxford Circus with a gun, I'm not going to say to him, just hold on, give us 10 minutes whilst the armed units can find their way through the traffic and come to us.
But the armed response are very quick in their time to actually respond to something.
Let's put some facts on this. I think you're wrong and you're right. There were a total of 14,753 police firearms operations in the year ending March of last year. Yeah,
but it only went up by 5% from the year, 0.5% from the year before.
Hold on. That's the whole of the UK.
Yeah.
I think for you to single out the very unfortunate and tragic shooting of de Menezes and Mr Duggan, of course, shocking, I think is very unfair. The police are using their guns at an extraordinary level, and most every time, 99.999%, they are successful operations.
And what I'm saying is, what you've just quoted there, those are police officers that are intensely trained to use those guns.
Where you are right is it would radically alter the police model in this country, which is the one that works.
Yeah.
We ask them to police us, and it's only officers who choose to be armed who come forward and who want to take the training. And you're not saying we do away with guns completely, are you? We have armed units.
Yes, I'm happy with armed units. What I'm saying is, for the Bobby on the beat, no way.
To Michelle's point, when Lee Rigby was fatally attacked on the streets in Woolwich, the time to get the armed unit was 7 minutes.
Yeah,
it took 7 minutes. So that is pretty incredible.
Yes.
I think the way it works at the moment is right.
It's working.
I think we have enough guns on the streets with police officers. I find it extraordinary now. You go to shopping malls up and down the country. I understand why, and they're walking around with guns.
Yep.
I looked at wonderment when I saw these Christmas markets, and I thought, why the hell have we got guys around Northampton and Wolverhampton and Birmingham? And then we saw what happened in Berlin. I think we are blessed with a great police service. I think you do them a disservice by talking about de Menezes and Duggan. There were extenuating circumstances
That's not doing
there.
A disservice.
But
that is stating what happened.
But to your main point, you're right.
I mean, it's good to hear you talking some sense, Nick.
Yeah.
What a nice surprise.
How does that feel for you?
It was during the break I had to lie down.
They'll never let him back into LBC, will they, after that?
You know, it's interesting that when you actually speak to police officers, you know, and the head of the Police Federation or someone similar said recently, when actually you speak to them, most of them don't want to be armed. You know, you don't sign up to the police. Michelle, you're not a police officer for a reason. Most police officers sign up to the police not seeing it as an armed service, you know, and I respect the fact that our police don't see themselves that way, and for more than a century they've been doing a very good job without being armed with guns.
Doing a fantastic job.
There's plenty of evidence, just look at America, that actually when everyone's armed it just escalates levels of violence. Our police are very well trained in de-escalating things without guns. Fewer people die as a result. When you look at the number of people who die in police custody, it is disturbing because nobody should die following contact with the police under the wrong circumstances. It does happen. It's not in huge numbers. It's impossible to imagine those numbers wouldn't increase if more police officers were armed. And also, just to finish my point, the people who do die following contact with the police are disproportionately people suffering from mental illness, people from black and ethnic minorities. And that's why I think even though the numbers are small, we do need to be extremely careful about the idea that more police officers would be able to fatally kill. I think that is something that our police are wary of for a very good reason.
And we know, but back to your point there, if you look at the stats on stop and search, we still haven't got that under control. So for me, I would be completely worried with instances like this.
I don't know how I can say this, but I agree with Nick. You see, when you do
Brown used to say that. Not happened to him.
When I go to airports or you go to big shopping malls and you see guys walking around, I'm quite shocked. This wasn't the Britain that I was brought up in.
Does it not make you feel safer?
No, it makes no difference.
It doesn't?
No, because I honestly don't think having armed police would have stopped what happened in Berlin. I really don't think
I don't know.
I think, so I'm shocked by it. What interests me is what will the vote say? Because I suspect the majority of police will say,
this isn't
the police force I joined. I joined, and we have rather a good police force, I suspect, compared to many other countries, because they decided not to use arms and not to arm the police. But I'm still quite shocked by how many now are armed.
The terror threat is severe. We live in a world where the terror threat is severe.
Intelligence services have done a phenomenal job in keeping us safe.
Yeah, and brilliant.
So what we're doing clearly is working. So why are we going to change something that is working?
It's intelligence and it's armed. If some idiot is wandering around the streets shooting, because you're talking about, they do a great job of
Michelle,
what was the word you used? Basically like calming down situations. If someone's wandering around with a gun, I don't want someone trying to negotiate.
You talk about the terrorist threat. The greatest terrorist threat facing our nation right now is lone wolf attacks, right? People who go off often with explosive devices, that's the fear. There is no way that somebody determined to detonate a suicide bomb, for example, who's been planning on his own in a bunker somewhere, could be stopped by everybody on the beat having a gun. But who will be affected is everyday people living their lives in the community, and that's why
I never said
I
want everybody on the beat to have a gun. That's not what I said. What I said was in large metropolitan cities. So for Scarborough, would I expect people to be patrolling Scarborough Beach with guns? No, I wouldn't. That's a bit weird.
You might do in Hull if you read the
Leeds, Manchester, I don't know, Glasgow, London.
No, but Michelle,
absolutely.
September 11th, US police officers carry guns. They still were attacked with terrorists. It still happened.